Hi, I'm Reggie Gordon, here with my wife Rashida Gray. Day 60 of the Great American Read. We're here in the Labyrinth on Northside. And the book we'd like to discuss is Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. You know, Arthur Golden, he did a wonderful job, I would say masterful, with writing this book. And he did have a master's in Japanese history, so the context, I think, was valid, you know, how he presented this time period. And we've talked about this topic a lot recently, about the power dynamic between men and women. And boy, it really is central to the themes of this book. So what are your thoughts about this, baby?
Well, I first read the book when I was in college, when I was sort of a blossoming feminist. And I thought then that it was a very well-written book, and I still think it's a very well-written story. I mean, you can't help but get caught up in all of the travails that she goes through from a child all the way into womanhood. And so my thoughts on the book were, you know, it's a controversial book, certainly, right, because it's an American author writing about Japanese culture. But I think it's also controversial because it's very much penned as a romance. It's penned as being, you know, erotic, and I think that those types of themes are the ones that kind of push my buttons, because it's really the story for, unfortunately, a lot of women around the world who are in oppressive societies and oppressive cultures, but then they get all these messages that their value and their worth is attached to men's assessment of them and men's attraction to them, and that the only way they can achieve independence and freedom and happiness is through a man. And the main character in this book, Sayuri, tries as a young child to escape being a geisha, and she fails, and that's sort of the first big lesson she has in life, that, you know, her desires and goals for herself really don't matter, that she still has to fit into what the Japanese culture has told her that she is supposed to be. And she, you know, then ends up in years of training on how to be this perfect woman to beguile men and entertain men and be alluring to them. And I think it's very similar even to where we are in America, where women don't necessarily
trained to be alluring to men.
Yes, through magazines and TV and movies and all the messages that we get every day as women, that even if you're great at math, at the end of the day, your value is whether a man asks to marry you.
It's complex.
That's why it's a controversial book too.
Yeah.
But I do think it's, I think in 2018, the book is very relevant because of the Me Too movement and, you know, this large discussion around powerful men and them feeling as though they have permission to speak and touch and engage women in a way that is to their pleasing and for their pleasure. And it's great that we're now at a time where we can say, you know, that's just not right, and we're not going to take that anymore, because we're not in 1920s Japan in a geisha house. So it's nice to see that we are evolving.
Right. Well, that's why I love reading. That's why we love this book. Go read.